There is a knowing that transcends time, a whisper that moves quietly beneath the surface of your thoughts, beneath the noise of everyday life. You have felt it before, that sudden pull toward someone, a sense of familiarity you cannot explain, the certainty that this meeting was not the first nor random. What if I told you it wasn't? Long before your eyes first met in this lifetime, long before your names were even yours, your souls recognized one another. They danced together in realms unseen, weaving patterns of connection beyond the veil of linear time. This is not just poetry. It is a truth deeply embedded within the nature of existence itself. Dr. Brian Weiss, renowned psychiatrist and pioneer in past life regression therapy, discovered this hidden architecture of the soul while working with patients who spontaneously recalled memories of other lives, lives that carried unresolved emotions, traumas, and love. An unbreakable kind of love. These were not mere hallucinations or fantasies of the mind. These recollections emerged with vivid precision, names, places, languages never studied, even historical details verified later as true. But more powerful than the facts were the emotions, the overwhelming waves of love, grief, longing, and joy that crossed the boundaries of death and rebirth. When two souls are bound beyond time, something remarkable happens. Across different lifetimes, they find one another again and again, drawn by invisible threads of unfinished journeys, unresolved promises, or the pure magnetism of shared evolution. You may have already experienced this. That moment when you meet someone and everything inside you shifts, a resonance so deep it feels like remembering something sacred, yet forgotten. A look, a touch, a word, and suddenly your soul whispers, "It's you." Brian Weiss's work revealed what many mystical traditions have whispered for centuries, that we are eternal beings, temporarily embodied, learning, healing, and remembering. But among the countless souls we meet, there are certain ones, special ones, who belong to our spiritual family. These are not coincidences. These encounters are orchestrated within the infinite intelligence of the universe. Your meeting with them was written not in ink, but in energy, in the luminous script of consciousness itself. Imagine for a moment that your life is not a linear story, but a spiral of experiences, lessons, and reunions. Each turn of the spiral brings you back to certain souls, not because of karma as punishment, but as an invitation to grow together, to heal together, to love more deeply, more freely. And yet, why do we forget? Why does the veil fall between lives? The forgetting is not a punishment. It is a sacred design, for in forgetting we are given the gift of rediscovery. The magic of remembering, the beauty of recognizing someone not with the mind but with the heart. This is why when you meet them again, it feels like lightning and silence at the same time, a quiet certainty, an unspoken knowing. You may say, "I feel like I've known you forever." And perhaps you truly have. As you listen to these words, allow yourself to soften. Let the noise of the mind settle. Somewhere deep within you, the memory stirs, the remembrance of a love that is not bound by time or space. If these reflections awaken something inside you, if this truth resonates, it's because you've always known, a knowing older than this life, older than the stars themselves. And as you walk this path of remembering, let this space be a sanctuary for your soul. A place where you are invited to go deeper, to explore, to question, to awaken. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing to this channel, because this journey of the soul is not meant to be walked alone. There is a magnetic force that moves beneath the surface of ordinary life, an invisible pull orchestrated not by chance, but by the intricate intelligence of the universe. A field of energy where time collapses and space becomes irrelevant. Here, connections are not formed, they are remembered. When you cross paths with someone and feel an immediate sense of familiarity, it's not your imagination. It's a recognition that originates far beyond this current incarnation. A resonance of souls who have traveled through lifetimes together, weaving stories of love, learning, and evolution. Brian Weiss, through countless regressions, uncovered an undeniable truth. Souls are drawn back to one another, lifetime after lifetime. This pull is not arbitrary. It's encoded in the very fabric of your spiritual being. Agreements made long before you were born, intentions set in the subtle dimensions of existence. Think about the people who have entered your life, those whose presence feels profound, even if unexplainable. Perhaps it was a brief encounter, perhaps it's someone who has stayed. The sensation is the same, a familiarity that transcends logic, as if your soul whispers, "There you are. I found you again." How does this happen? It begins in the non-physical realms before the soul descends into a new life. In these spaces, call them the between lives realms, the spiritual plane, or simply the infinite, souls gather, review their past experiences, and decide together how they will continue growing. These decisions are sacred. They are not driven by obligation or debt, but by love and the desire for mutual evolution. A mother in one life may become a brother in another. A lover may return as a friend, a child, or even someone you perceive as an adversary, each role carefully chosen to catalyze growth. The threads of connection are woven with precision. When the time arrives, synchronicities unfold, placing two souls exactly where they need to be to encounter each other once more. A glance, a coincidence, a sudden opportunity, all orchestrated beyond conscious awareness, yet deeply felt within. This is why sometimes when you meet someone, the conversation flows effortlessly, as though picking up from a pause rather than a beginning. There's an ease, a fluidity. Words become secondary because the recognition happens on a vibrational level. Weiss's patients often described visions of themselves in pre-life councils, sitting among guides and fellow souls, mapping out the blueprints of their future lives. They spoke of choosing bodies, locations, and life circumstances, but more importantly, choosing the souls they would meet again. This explains why, even in the most unexpected situations, certain relationships seem destined. You meet someone at a random event, on a trip, or through an unusual circumstance, yet it feels as though the universe conspired tirelessly to make it happen. Because it did. And yet not all reunions are wrapped in ease and comfort. Sometimes, the souls that return are those with whom there is unfinished healing. They mirror unresolved wounds, inviting you to transcend patterns that perhaps have repeated across several incarnations. It is essential to understand this is not punishment but opportunity. An invitation to finally dissolve cycles of pain, misunderstanding, or separation. Each reunion holds the potential for profound liberation for both souls involved. When you understand that the people in your life are not accidents but sacred participants in your soul's evolution, everything shifts. Resentments soften, gratitude deepens, love expands beyond the confines of this lifetime. So the next time you look into someone's eyes and feel that indescribable familiarity, trust it. That knowing is not delusion. It is truth vibrating through the layers of time. It is your soul remembering what the mind cannot fully comprehend. And as you continue listening, you will begin to understand even more deeply why these meetings occur and the powerful purpose they serve. Behind every encounter that feels destined, there is a deeper purpose, one that goes beyond comfort, attraction, or coincidence. It is the unfolding of a spiritual contract written long before you took your first breath in this life. When souls recognize each other, it is not just about rekindling love or companionship. It is often about healing, about completing unfinished lessons, about remembering aspects of yourself that can only be mirrored through the eyes of the other. Weiss's work illuminated a profound truth. The soul's primary mission is growth, the expansion of consciousness through experiences, relationships, and the mastery of love in its highest form. But growth doesn't always come through ease. It often emerges from challenge, from the edges of discomfort, from the friction that awakens hidden parts of who we are. Many times, the souls you meet again are reflections of parts of yourself that require attention. Perhaps in a past life, there was abandonment, betrayal, misunderstanding, or unresolved grief. These energetic imprints don't simply vanish when a lifetime ends. They are carried forward not as punishments, but as invitations to heal, transform, and transcend. This is why certain relationships feel intense, almost too intense. They stir something so deep within you that it becomes impossible to ignore. You may find yourself asking, why does this person affect me so much? The answer lies in the echoes of shared history, not just in this life, but in lives beyond memory. But it is not always about resolving pain. Sometimes, souls reunite to simply continue the journey of joy, support, and mutual growth. They return as companions of light, encouraging each other to rise, evolve, and fulfill their higher purposes. Together, they amplify one another's capacity for compassion, creativity, and service to the world. The deeper purpose is always rooted in love. But love, in the soul's perspective, is not confined to romance. It is the love of recognition, the love of witnessing another's essence, the love that understands the eternal dance of giving and receiving, teaching and learning, mirroring and evolving. Brian Weiss's patients often describe the profound clarity that arises when they remember these soul agreements. Suddenly, patterns that once seemed confusing make perfect sense. The difficult parent, the challenging partner, the supportive friend, each playing a role in the symphony of the soul's unfolding. You begin to realize that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every encounter is a doorway, an opportunity to reclaim forgotten wisdom, to release old wounds and to expand into higher states of being. And here lies the most beautiful paradox. While these connections are destined, they are also infused with free will. The agreement is the invitation, not the guarantee. It is up to each soul, in the present moment, to choose, to accept the invitation for growth, or to turn away and defer the lesson to another time, another life. When you embrace this understanding, a profound shift occurs. Resentments begin to dissolve. Judgment softens. You no longer see others as obstacles or sources of suffering, but as sacred mirrors, reflecting the precise conditions needed for your evolution. Even the most painful encounters begin to reveal their hidden grace. You understand that behind every challenge there is a seed of liberation, behind every heartbreak, a doorway to greater love. Behind every ending, the preparation for a new beginning, one that transcends the limits of this single lifetime. As you reflect on this truth, consider who in your life has stirred something deep within you, who has awakened feelings, memories, or lessons you cannot easily explain. Perhaps their presence is no accident. Perhaps this is exactly what your soul intended all along. And as this realization settles, a new question begins to emerge, one that leads us even deeper into the mystery of soul connections. As you walk through life, certain moments stand out, moments that defy logic, coincidences too perfect to be random. These are not accidents. They are signposts left by the invisible hand of destiny, gently guiding you toward the people and experiences your soul intended long before this lifetime began. Brian Weiss's research revealed that the universe speaks a language far more subtle than words. It communicates through feelings, synchronicities, and the magnetic pull of intuition. These signs are like whispers from the soul, reminders that what you are experiencing has a depth that extends beyond what the eyes can see. Think about it. How many times have you thought about someone only for them to call you moments later? Or found yourself in a place you had no logical reason to visit, only to meet someone who would profoundly change your life? These are not random events. They are the choreography of the soul in motion. When two souls are destined to reconnect, the universe conspires in mysterious ways. You may notice recurring numbers, meaningful symbols, or a series of chance encounters that defy probability. It's as if reality itself bends to create the perfect conditions for your paths to cross once more. But the signs are not always loud. Sometimes they are quiet nudges, a feeling you can't shake, an inner knowing that something important is about to unfold. And often, it is in the stillness between thoughts that the clearest guidance arises. Brian Weiss's patients frequently described how, prior to meeting a significant soul again, they would feel restless, unsettled, or inexplicably drawn to make changes in their lives. A sudden decision to move, to travel, to start a new job, seemingly random choices that ultimately led them right into the arms of someone their soul had been waiting for. This is the sacred dance of alignment. When you begin to trust these impulses, life unfolds with a kind of grace that feels both surreal and deeply natural. You start to notice the hidden threads connecting moments, people, and decisions, revealing a pattern far more intelligent than coincidence. It is important to understand that these synchronicities are not just about romantic reunions. They extend to friendships, mentors, family members, and even brief encounters with strangers whose presence leaves a lasting imprint on your soul's journey. Each of these connections carries a specific frequency, a lesson, or a remembrance. Yet recognizing the signs is only part of the equation. You must also have the courage to follow them. The universe can open the doors, but it is your free will that determines whether you step through. The invitation is constant, but the choice is always yours. There is a profound comfort in knowing that you are not wandering aimlessly. Every encounter, every detour, every delay is part of a greater orchestration designed with loving precision. The soul understands what the mind often forgets, that timing is sacred. If you've ever wondered why certain meetings feel delayed, or why some connections come unexpectedly, it is because the universe waits until both souls are ready, until the lessons, the healing, and the growth can be fully received. Not a moment too soon, not a moment too late. As you become more attuned to this language of synchronicity, life begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a conversation with the divine. You start trusting the gentle pull of your intuition. You begin to recognize the invisible threads guiding you home, to yourself, and to the souls who are meant to walk this path with you. And as this understanding deepens, a question naturally arises. What happens when this life ends? Do these connections truly last beyond the boundaries of time and death? When this lifetime comes to an end, does it all vanish? Do the connections, the love, the memories dissolve into nothingness? The answer, whispered through ancient traditions and confirmed in the profound experiences shared by thousands under Weiss's guidance, is no. Nothing is ever truly lost. Love is the only constant that transcends the illusion of death. The body fades, the personality dissolves, but the essence, the soul, endures. And with it, the tapestry of connections woven through countless lifetimes remains intact, vibrant, alive, waiting. The moment the soul leaves the body, it returns to the realm it came from, a dimension of light, understanding, and unconditional love. Here the soul reviews its journey, reflects upon the lessons learned, and reunites with the souls it has traveled alongside for eons. Imagine the sensation, reuniting beyond the veil, embracing those who walked with you through joy and sorrow, victory and pain. Every misunderstanding dissolves, every wound is seen with clarity. There is only love, only gratitude for the roles played, the lessons shared. In this realm, the soul understands what the human mind often cannot, that every encounter, even those that felt painful, was an act of profound cooperation, a sacred agreement designed for mutual growth. And those you loved, you will love still. Not as a memory, but as an ever-present reality of the soul. But it does not end there. The journey continues. Souls gather, not in isolation, but as part of spiritual families, groups who incarnate together repeatedly, shifting roles, changing dynamics, always for the purpose of evolving consciousness. A parent becomes a child, a lover becomes a teacher, a rival becomes a healer. The dance is infinite. This is why, even in the depths of grief, there is often an unexplainable knowing, a quiet certainty that death is not goodbye, but merely a pause. A veil, thin and permeable, separates worlds. Loved ones often visit in dreams, in sudden waves of emotion, in the inexplicable sense that they are near, because they are. Weiss's work revealed that souls often wait for one another. They choose to return together, crafting new lifetimes where they can continue their sacred agreements, whether to complete unfinished healing, to share new experiences, or simply to exist in the beauty of remembering each other. When you understand this, life transforms. Death loses its sting. Separation becomes an illusion. You begin to live with a deeper presence, knowing that every moment, every connection carries the weight of eternity. The love you share today echoes across dimensions. The kindness you offer, the forgiveness you extend, the presence you give, all ripple beyond this lifetime. They are imprinted in the very fabric of your soul and the souls of those you touch. And so the question is no longer, will I see them again? The answer is certain, you will, you always have, you always will. The real question becomes, how fully can I love now knowing this? If these words touched your soul, subscribe to the channel and click on the video that just appeared on your screen. It was chosen especially for you. I know you'll love it.